From the moment she asked that question, how are babies made? I knew the rest of the day would not go the way I expected. It was a single sentence from a tiny voice, asked with the innocent boldness only a 6-year-old could have, but it hit me like an earthquake. I froze, blinking at her big brown eyes, desperately hoping she was joking, but she wasn't. She stood there in her princess pajamas, hair messy from sleep, clutching her stuffed rabbit, waiting for an answer like it was as simple as asking the time. And me? My heart thudded like I had just been asked to explain the meaning of life on live television. I told her, maybe by kissing each other, I guess? And the moment those words left my mouth, I knew, oh no, it was over for me. She didn't blink. She didn't laugh. She simply stared at me with the face of someone who had just unlocked a secret of the universe and wasn't entirely convinced it made sense. I swear, in that moment, I saw my life flash before my eyes, not because she asked something inappropriate, but because I realized that as much as I tried to pretend I had life under control, parenting had its own way of reminding you, you barely know what you're doing. It was like the universe tapping my shoulder, whispering, figure it out. She needs you. I picked her up, set her on the sofa, and tried to think of a way to redirect the entire conversation. The truth was, I wasn't ready. Not for this question, not for the responsibility it carried, and certainly not for the feeling that hit me: fear. Fear that I wasn't enough. Fear that I'd say the wrong thing. Fear that I'd break something in her trust if I messed this up. Nobody teaches you how to be a parent. They give you books, advice, warnings, and opinions. But none of those things prepare you for the moment. The moment when your child looks at you for guidance, for truth, for safety, trusting that whatever you say will shape the way they see the world. She asked again, gentler this time, so, kissing makes a baby? I scrambled, my hands trembling a little as I grabbed the TV remote to distract her with cartoons. It worked, kind of. She turned her attention to the screen, but I could see curiosity still glowing in her eyes. I sighed, sinking beside her. She wasn't trying to embarrass me. She wasn't trying to trap me. She simply wanted to understand. But her innocent question forced me to confront something I had been running from for years, the fact that I was raising her alone. Her mother had left when she was barely 2. Not out of cruelty, not out of carelessness, but because life had crushed her from the inside. Postpartum depression had eaten away at her joy, and the guilt of not being enough had pushed her into silence, then disappearance. I never blamed her, though I knew others did. I had lived inside her storms, felt the weight of her battles. And when she left, I held our daughter in my arms and whispered, I'll do this. I'll do both roles. Somehow. That somehow had followed me every day since. Later that afternoon, when she napped, I stood by the window, staring out at the street, thinking about how I had stumbled through every stage of her life. From feeding her wrong, to clipping her nails too short once and crying more than she did, to learning how to braid her hair from YouTube tutorials. But this question felt heavier than all of that. It wasn't about biology. It was about trust. How much truth could her young heart handle? How much of the world should I protect her from, and how much should I let her discover? The second chapter of that day began when she woke up, climbed into my lap, and quietly said, Daddy? If kissing makes a baby, then why did you stop kissing Mommy? My breath caught in my throat. It was the one question I had prayed she wouldn't ask, not until she was older. Her voice didn't hold accusation or anger, just pure, painful innocence. I held her tighter, closing my eyes as my heart cracked in places I thought had healed. I could lie, make something up, tell her it just happened, but lies only build walls between hearts. And I promised myself never to let her grow up feeling abandoned or unsure of her worth. So I told her the truth, not the whole truth, not the adult parts filled with heartbreak and mental illness, but the version she could hold without hurting herself. I said, sweetheart, sometimes people love each other, and sometimes life becomes too big for them. Mommy loved you. She loved us. But sometimes love isn't enough to heal someone. Sometimes people need to go far away to feel better. She listened, small fingers tracing circles on my arm, processing every word. Do you miss her? She asked. Every day, I whispered. Do you think she misses me? I know she does. She rested her head on my chest. Then when I grow up, I'll find her. And I'll tell her it's okay. I broke. Quietly, silently, with tears slipping down my cheeks as I held the little miracle I had somehow been trusted with. And in that moment, I realized something. Maybe I was enough. Maybe I didn't have all the answers, and maybe I never would, but I had heart. I had love. I had the willingness to grow with her, stumble with her, and tell the truth even when it scared me. Parenting wasn't about perfect answers. It was about honest ones. As the sun set, painting the living room gold, she looked up at me again and whispered, "Then, how are babies actually made?" And I laughed, a deep, tired, relieved laugh. I brushed a strand of hair from her face and said, "Let's learn together when you're older. For now, just know they're made from love. And you were made from so much of it that it overflowed." She smiled, accepting that answer with the kind of peace only a child could have, and leaned into me. The room grew quiet, the world outside softened, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I wasn't failing. I felt like maybe, just maybe, we were both learning how to be whole again. And if there was one message the day had taught me, one I hoped she'd carry into her life, it was this: you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to show up, stay honest, and love with everything you have. The rest, somehow finds its way.